Welcome back to Beers Up Sports Talk. Sibo in the house, Debo in the house. NBA season starting shortly, so we got to get our picks in.
Wait, this isn't Victory Monday?
No, man. Come on, easy there.
Oh, okay.
That's coming up. We're gonna get to that. But hold up. You're getting me all thrown off here, man. What are you drinking? Let's get to that. Get to the beers. The beers. That's what people want.
Same thing as the beginning of the week. Back on that Evolve from Progression. Last one, so I figured I'd save it for two nights.
All right. And I'm back with New City Brewery, but I got the Valley Flyer Hazy IPA. I'll say this. Great color, obviously.
Yep.
Not too hazy, not too strong, only about 5%. These can go down quick, folks. Get them while they're hot.
Yes.
All right, so we're doing something special for y'all with the NBA season about to kick off. We figured we'd get our picks in, our over-unders, talk a little bit about the teams. So we're going to start tonight with the Eastern Conference. We're going to run through all the teams. We're going to pick our MVPs in each division and then pick a conference MVP. We're both wearing Celtics shirts, so just buyer beware. We're homers. So let's start with the Celtics. Let's kick it off with the Atlantic Division. Your Boston Celtics. Over-under is 45.5.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, D?
Well, first I got to ask, is that last time you were able to change it to Cantor last time when we did this, right? Is there an 11?
No name yet. I'm welcoming Kyrie Irving back into the East. I know he was there back to the Atlantic. I know he was there last year, but it was kind of fake. He didn't come back after the break. Right. And he's got his teammate this year. So I'm going to leave it for Irving for now. You can't really see it. It's too far away. We'll see what happens.
I like it. All right, so 45.5. Like, what they do normally is they don't play their players. We're talking about Kemba's probably going to get some rest. They're going to try and try not to load his minutes in the season, so that way they can load all their stars in the playoffs like they did this past year, where they were all playing 40 minutes a game. Jeff Teague came in as a point guard backup. I know you're happy the way he played because he's a lot better than Wanamaker. Because I know that was a big thing for you. I think it's a smart thing to do that. They're going to get out there. They're going to get some of their youth in the game. Nesmith is hitting threes already, so that's a huge thing for us. Their defense is still going to be top notch, one of the best in the league. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go over. When we were going through this, I was like, I don't think they're going to win the division. But then I looked at the division. I got through it. Right now, I got them over. I'm not saying they're going to go to 50, but I could see them in the 47, 48 range. But I think we have to put a note on this. This is only 70 game season. This isn't 82 games. So this is 45. So, some people might be looking at like 45. They better get the 45 in an 82 game season. But you're talking about 12 less games. I can see them getting to 40, 47, 48 wins.
That's a great point. I mean, I still think they get over. I don't know. Again, I think a lot, obviously, over-unders are meant to be close. This is a really good team. Yeah, I like Jeff Teague. I like Tristan Thompson a little bit better than Cantor. The youngsters are going to have to prove themselves. But they still got Tatum. They still got Brown. They're going to have Kemba. They're still really good. And I know I hate on Wanamaker, but Teague's just a better, I think, offensive player, and they already play good defense all the way around. And I just think Teague's gonna add a little bit in that second unit. Obviously, they've lost Hayward. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I still think they go over. So we're both over. Let's move on to Brooklyn. Kyrie, Durant is back. They didn't lose a whole lot. They re-signed Joe Harris, kept LeVert. They got a squad. If Kyrie doesn't mess this up, and I'm not convinced that he's not going to mess it up, but
we're at 45.5 again. I'll say that Kyrie soured me on him. But you know what? He coexisted with LeBron. They won a championship. Can he do it with
He
Durant?
Didn't really coexist with LeBron. I mean, it was like a year or two.
I know. I think Durant, he can do it because Durant's not big on the speaking out. Honestly, I think he's more soft-spoken, and he's just going to go out and play. But, I mean, you said it. They have some players. You didn't mention, at least I don't remember hearing, like Jeff Green, older veteran, who's going to play good defense. He may not be the scorer he once was, but he's going to play good defense. DeAndre Jordan, he's big. and he can take up that middle. And Terrion Prince, I know he's not the greatest, but I think he's a really good role player on that team. And Dinwiddie, he's an upcoming star. I think it's going to take time for them to mesh. I have them going under, but just barely.
Yeah, same here.
Just because I think that it's going to be like a feeling out process in the first 10 games at least.
Yeah, and I imagine, I mean, to your point about Kemba, like they're not going to want to bust Kyrie and Durant. I assume Durant's going to be on, maybe not, he may not have any restrictions, but I'm sure they're going to give him plenty of rest. Right. And they've got enough bench that they can play. But yeah, I think it's going to take a while for them to get going. I'm going under, but just barely. And to your point about Durant being soft-spoken, he's soft-spoken, but if Kyrie starts pulling the stuff that he's been doing throughout his career, it's going to get ugly in Brooklyn real quick.
Fair. I can see that.
Let's move on to the New York Knicks. So I'm just going to say this. The over-under is 22.5. They got a new coach, Tom Thibodeau, who likes playing his veterans.
Yep.
There are no veterans on the New York Knicks.
That's what I was thinking.
Pretty much a young team. And so part of me is like, this is going to be a cluster F. It's not going to go well. But also, Thibodeau has to have learned something from his first couple coaching gigs, that like you can't just do what you did the last time, right, especially with all these youngsters. And they're not necessarily good youngsters. I mean, RJ Barrett, you got Mitchell Robinson, you got Kevin Knox, who forgot how to shoot, and you got the rookie Obi Toppin. Like they've got some guys. They're going under. They're going to be bad, but like they might be fun to watch on certain nights, but that's about it. They're going to be running up and down the court looking crazy, but like they're going under.
I mean, I think that's the way they're going to have to play. Is they're going to have to play run and gun. But I also think, Thibodeau was good on defense. You know, he's a good defensive coach, and maybe he teaches them a few good things there. But maybe you get these youngsters to play together for a little while, and somehow they can get one of the superstars to think the big lights of New York City. I don't know if that's going to happen because management has really messed up that team's mojo. So, I'd love to see it. I do look forward to seeing how Obi plays in the NBA, and I'm there with you with the under, and I hate to do that because like 22.5 is so low. Like that's such a bad team, but I don't think
they're going to be bad. I mean, Obi almost jumped out the building the other night. The other part of this is that the rest of their division is stacked.
Yeah.
So they may not win a game in the division. I mean, I know they probably will, but like that, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's a rough division to be in.
All right, let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Doc is back. The Doc is in the building.
Yeah.
Not Dr. J, but they have a new head coach. And basically the same team. They lost Horford, but they pretty much brought everybody back. They added Danny Green. They added Seth Curry. They're going to be more spaced out. They're going to shoot a ton more threes, I'm sure.
They added Dwight Howard.
Sure. Yep.
I mean, Dwight had he had a good season with LA. So it's hard not to say, like, that's a decent pickup right now. Now, 10 games.
There's a difference, though. I'm going to say there's a difference between playing with LeBron and playing with Embiid and Simmons. There's a lot of drama in Philadelphia. And that's my biggest thing is that Howard is good when LeBron's looking over him and Anthony Davis is looking over him. But when it's Joel Embiid and it's Ben Simmons, who knows? This team,
I think they bring Doc in to be that glue that kind of gets them, that he's played with Pierce, Garnett, and Allen. And I understand that those three guys were like, we're here to win the championship. But that's still a lot of firepower. And he had Paul George and Kawhi. He's dealt with Chris Paul. He's dealt with a lot of different players that he might be able to get Ben Simmons and Embiid to get along and work out together. I don't think it's going to happen. My question is actually which one of Simmons or Embiid get traded by the deadline. I honestly think that could happen. And I got them going under.
Okay. I mean, you've got Daryl Morey, who's, GM that likes to do kind of funky things. You bring Doc Rivers in, who isn't necessarily the same kind of coach that kind of meshes with Morey, but obviously he must have felt like it was a good fit for the players. There's rumors today about the Rockets kind of re-engaging with the 76ers about a Simmons-Harden deal. I don't know. I actually have them over just barely, mainly because they're still a really good team. Mm-hmm. And if they have the kind of offense where they're spreading it out and they're shooting threes, you give Simmons more opportunity to drive to the hoop, and you give Embiid more ability to cook down low. And I think they're going to win. And I think on most nights they're just going to be the better team. They're going to be able to kind of force themselves on their opponents. Let's move to the Toronto Raptors. Basically, my question is, can Nick Nurse run it back? They're like I feel like they're the ageless wonders, even though they're not really the ageless wonders.
Go ahead. I was gonna say most of the roster has stayed the same. Gasol left.
Well, they lost Gasol and Ibaka, right? So they lose Gasol and Ibaka. They bring in
Len.
They bring in Len. They bring in Baines. They bring in big dudes. I think that's where the weakness is going to fall a little bit. Yep. I think even though those guys can play the center position well, and Baines showed out a little bit last year, I just think that Gasol and Ibaka are two veterans that can do it all, and you're going to hope that these guys can make it happen.
Yeah, and they're one of those players that are there to win the championship, and they're going to do whatever it takes at this point. I think OG Anunoby, he had a little bit of a breakout last year, and if he can complement the guards of Van Fleet and Lowry, I think it's okay. Yeah, is Len and Baines the same as Ibaka? And
no, but you also you're assuming that Van Fleet's going to improve. You're assuming Anunoby's going to improve. You're assuming Seacom. I'm saying his name so wrong. I'm sorry. But how long can Lowry keep this up? That's my big question, right? Because he's been incredible.
And incredible. This team's going to play good defense again. So I'm going to say that they're going to go over. It doesn't mean that they're going over a ton. 42.5 isn't a high number to me. Like, I'm not scared of 42.5. If I had some money, I'd probably put some on it.
Yeah, I think they're going to get to at least 43. I got over. Again, it's going to take some time for those big guys to kind of figure out their role, but they've got 4 solid players that are going to keep them in most games. All right, so let's do it. MVP for the Atlantic Division. Who you got?
Well, I'm wearing Jason Tatum here, but I'm actually no, stop. It's the right. It would be the right call. I think here's my thing. If Brooklyn's going to be good, it's going to be because of Durant. He's going to have to carry that team. So I've been between Durant and Tatum all day. And man, it's really tough. And you know what? Just because I'm going to go with Tatum, because why not? I'm wearing his shirt.
Right. Listen, it's a homer pick. I got Tatum. Durant is the best player in the division by a little bit, and he's coming off an injury.
Yep.
If Durant is Golden State, Oklahoma City Durant, then he's the best player in the division, right?
Yep.
However, I don't know how much. Again, we'll see what happens. He's 1A, 1B, but I'm going Tatum.
We have no disagreements in the.
We had one. 76ers. 76ers. All right, let's move to the Central. Gets a little weird in the Central. The Atlantic Division is like 4 out of 5 teams might make the playoffs. In the Central, maybe two. All right, let's start with the Bulls. Billy Donovan is the new head coach.
Yep.
He left the Thunder, got hired by the Bulls. They are young. Young plus Zach LaVine is basically what I want to say.
Yeah, but stop it, because I was going to say the same thing. They're so young. They have veterans of Zach LaVine's only 25.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying he is a veteran, but he also and he's 25 and he missed like a year with a knee, right? So
Hasn't he been in the league for 12 years or so?
No, maybe 13. But they got a little bit of a young squad here.
Oh, they do. Yep.
They're not going to be really good.
I mean, after him, the next best player is Otto Porter. And
no, don't say that. Cody White, you got Markkanen, who's good. Wendell Carter is going to be better. Like, Cody White can go. Like, that guy, they're going to – Otto Porter. Get the hell out of here with Otto Porter. But here's my thing. They're going to be fun to watch. They're going to lose a lot of games.
Yeah, they are going to lose a ton of games.
I'm going under. What you got?
I'm also under.
Like I said, and I don't think it's going to be by much. I actually think they'll win a few more games just because I think Zach LaVine will just get hot some nights like he did the other night in preseason and just, light the place on fire. Let's move to the Cavs.
Do we have to?
The over-under is 21.5. All I wrote is under. Nope, not happening.
So what I wrote was, if Kevin Love stays healthy, he's getting traded at the deadline because you have to unload that by now. Like, this should have been done last year, but he can't stay healthy anymore. So who's going to want someone like that?
I don't understand why he's still. I get that he's not healthy, but I feel like a big contract gets traded every year.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years he has left on his deal. It can't be more than 1 or 2. They got a young core. They got Sexton. They got Porter. They got the draft pick of Coro. They'll be fun, but like the Love and Drummond max contracts, like Drummond's going to be playing for a new deal, so he's probably going to be trying to ball out. It's going to be weird. It's just going to be ugly to watch because you're going to have young guys trying to figure it out, and you're going to have Drummond trying to put up 20 and 15 so you can get a new deal.
Yeah, I mean, they're not winning a lot of games.
So you're going under is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Another team I feel like is in the same position. Detroit Pistons. Like it's the Blake Griffin and who show, right? Like,
Derrick Rose.
I'm going to say this again. Is sure. All right. Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose show.
Now, granted, between the two of them, they have one good working knee.
Yep.
So I didn't realize that Griffin is 31, Rose is 32. I thought they were closer to like the 36, 37 range, but that's just because of really terrible, unlucky injuries for Rose. And
right,
man, health will be the key to these guys. If they stay healthy and play like they were 6 years younger, then that's a good core. But I don't see that happening. The team does have a great mix of youth and veterans. It's like,
I know they went out and signed all these veterans for what? Like you trying to make a run? Your over under is 23.5, and I'm going under, and it's not even close. Like I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I actually have them getting to 24. So
okay, all right, I'll take that. I just assume Blake gets traded at some point. Where does he end up? Who knows? Again, if you're a team that's making a run toward the playoffs and you can absorb that, it might be worth it. Let's move on to the Pacers. So the Pacers got rid of Nate McMillan. They hired a new coach.
Yep.
Didn't really change any of their roster. They're going to get a healthy Oladipo. They're basically running it back.
Oh, and they got Brogdon for point guard.
But they had him last year, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they had him last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. They got Brogdon. You're right. They got Brogdon. 39.5. What you got, D?
So I think the experience of this team gets them to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going far. I still
story of their lives right now.
Right. And this is weird but I think 39.5, I'm going under, and I still think that gets them to the playoffs.
Yeah, I put just barely 40 with a question mark. Like I think they maybe get 40 wins. That's 40 and 30. Again, they've got 3 teams in their division that they should beat every single time. And I don't know how many times they play those teams, but like they should never lose to the Pistons, Cavs, or Bulls, in my opinion.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, they will.
Let's move on to the Bucks. This is the juggernaut of the conference last couple of years. Obviously, they didn't get to the championship this past year. Giannis just signed the Supermax, $228 million.
Yep.
Good Lord. They got Drew Holiday. They didn't get Bogdanovich. They managed to keep most of their players. What do you think? The over-under is 51. So that's 51 and 19.
I have them. Breaking news, Marcus Mariota is in the football game.
Okay.
I don't know why that was important, but it felt like something that needed to be talked about. I think they're going to finish the season with the best record in the East, because they have, like you said, they have 4 teams in their division that it could potentially sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they split with Indiana, they're still talking that. I'm going under because I don't think anyone's getting to 50 wins in the East, but I think they're going to have the best record. They got Giannis back. He obviously wants to be there. Got a little worried last year, but the defense is still good, and Giannis is getting better. I have them under, but they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, I've got them under, but I don't think it's going to be by much. I don't know that Giannis necessarily wants to be there. I just don't know how you turn down $228 million over 5 years. And in this NBA, when you just saw a bunch of big contracts get traded, I don't think you should fear the idea of like signing a deal and then and knowing that if it all falls apart. I think this team with Drew Holiday is going to be pretty interesting. I mean, they basically have a quote unquote big three now with him, Middleton, and Giannis.
Yep.
I think they're going to be good. I don't know if like they've already seen the best that they can do, right?
Right.
Like I don't know how many times Giannis can run it back with Chris Middleton and the guys that they got on the bench. We'll see what Drew Holiday does for them. We'll see how it kind of gives them a little bit of shock. See how he plays in their system. To your point, they're going to be great defense. Yeah, I think I think they're going to go under, but I don't think it's going to be by much.
No doubt.
MVP
of that division is Giannis.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
I mean,
that's easy because who else?
He could sleepwalk to that MVP in that division.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Oladipo plays out of his mind, but even still, Giannis wins it by landslide. All right, let's do it. Let's do the Southeast, which is, I feel like a weird division. And we're going to start with one of the teams that I think has done the weirdest thing is the Atlanta Hawks. So you've got Trae Young, you got John Collins, who started to kind of blow up a little bit. And then they went out and they just went full veteran tilt. They got Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Chris Dunn, Clint Capella, and Rondo.
Yep.
And like, that's kind of interesting. I don't know that makes them like a really good team. It obviously makes them better than they were, but it's just a weird thing to do to go out and sign. I mean, that's 5 dudes that are going to be in heavy rotation that you've got to integrate into your team, into your culture, and all of that. And oh, by the way, none of them are going to get the ball because Trae Young's going to have the ball the whole time.
Yeah, so this is my sleeper team. I don't know why. There's something about it. I think it was adding those veterans that really turned me into this. I think you have Rondo is going to show the importance of defense to some of the players. I like them. I'm going to have them going over. I think they're a team that I don't know if they make the playoffs, but I think that they could be fighting for that 8th spot.
Yeah, I think they'll win more than expected, but I don't know if it's going to translate into playoff success. I mean, I just don't know how much Rondo is going to play.
Right.
Like you're going to have him off the ball. You can't, because he can't do anything off the ball. Right. Gallinari, Bogdanovich are just going to sit in the corner and chuck threes. They're going to be better. And I think Trae Young is going to benefit greatly from this. I think he's going to have a monster season because he's got guys that can hit shots. He's got guys that can play defense, and he's going to be able to he's going to be kind of taking that next step toward being Steph Curry light, which he basically already is. So I've got him over, but I don't know if it's going to be in playoff success. Let's go to the Hornets, who drafted LaMelo Ball. They signed Gordon Hayward to a monster contract, who probably has already fractured a finger, which, like, bad luck on that guy. I'm just going to say this. Like, they got a bunch of young guys.
Yep.
And I'm just going to go on a quick rant right here. Just let me be.
You got it.
If I'm Gordon Hayward, do I really want to spend the last 4 good years of my life on a team that's not going to be very good? That's it. Rant over. Over under is 25.5. I'm going under. I don't see it. What do you got?
I was looking to see what you were gonna go off. I like Gordon Hayward's hurt again. That's what I have. Like the fact that anyone wanted to sign him for that much money was just bonkers to me. Like,
but here's the thing.
How about a 1-year prove it deal? That's where I.
But here's the thing. I'd be okay if the Celtics signed him to that deal. I know it's crazy because on the Celtics, he's an important cog. On this team, like, you're going to spend the next 4 years of your career when you could have been playing championship basketball, playing for a team that is not good. They're not good, and they're not going to be good. Like, I hadn't thought about that until I was looking at the Hornets roster, and I was like, I get that you had a 1 year, $30 million option that you could have opted into and 4 years, $120 million. My guess is you could have got another contract somewhat close to that and played for a really good team. And now you're playing in Charlotte and you're already hurt. Like, I love me some Gordon Hayward. It just like infuriates me that he went to Charlotte and he's going to play with a shitty team.
Yeah. I mean, the best part of this team is to see if LaMelo Ball lives up to the hype.
He was hitting threes tonight. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, he's the future of that team.
Yeah.
30 million a year for Hayward on a bad team doesn't make any sense. Let's go to the cream of the crop in the Southeast Division. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. They made it to the NBA championship. Obviously, they didn't win. They're kind of an interesting team because they don't shout superstar team, but they just get it done. Just like the blue collar kind of just grind out games, good defense. Yeah. Jimmy Butler's obviously the leader of that team. The over-under is 44.5. I got them over. And I don't know that they repeat the championship run, but I think they're going to be really good.
So, I think the team is still talented. Obviously, they added some defense with Avery Bradley. I know they lost Crowder. Bam showed up in that series against the Celtics. And I think the team's loaded for another run. Again, don't think they're going to the championship, but I think they could go, at least second round into the playoffs. I mean, I think the best thing about this team is they don't care if they're the 1 or 8 seed. They're going to be willing to just let Jimmy Butler get a little rest, and then they can wear him out in the playoffs. Like, maybe he only plays, if they have 3 games in a week, he only plays 2. I could see them managing him to perfectly. Spoelstra is amazing at that, and I have them over, but it's not going to be by much. I think they're going to do it, and they're going to get to the playoffs. I mean, the good news is they're going to, even if they they're going to win this division. I know this is early, but they can do it, and they're going to end up being the 5th seed or the 4th seed because of being the division winner.
Yeah, but maybe not. Maybe they run away with the division. They just get a bunch of wins because this division stinks, and it's the East, or it's the Atlantic Division that kind of has a bunch of teams that make the playoffs, but they're lower down in the seeds because teams like the Heat, teams like the Bucks are able to kind of pick up a bunch of wins because they're playing bad opponents. Again, I don't know. I feel like at some point, I assume Goran's going to regress a little bit.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero balled out.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get better, but he's also going to be a starter now. He's not going to be the 6th man coming off the bench. It's going to be an interesting team because I could see them being really damn good or kind of sputtering into the playoffs just because they have enough talent. Be interesting to see. Let's move on to the Wizards, which is going to be one of the more interesting teams to watch.
Yep.
But what do you got?
Do we want? I mean, we can skip Orlando because all I have is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip Orlando? Oh my God, I'm sorry.
No, let me go. Orlando Magic have 32 wins. They're expected for 32 wins. I am not high on this team. I'm going under.
All right, so under. I got under. Fire sale of veterans. They got a decent young core. You got Mo Bamba. You got Marquez Fultz, who finally figured out how to play basketball. You got Cole Anthony. Go to Keke. They got some young dudes, but they got this Aaron Gordon, Eric Fournier, or whatever his name is, Vujicic. They got all these trade these dudes. Why are they still on the team? You just reset. They're going to go under. It's easy. All right, let's move on to the Wizards. I'm just intrigued by the Wizards, right? So obviously the big deal, it's Wall for Westbrook straight up with some draft picks going over to OKC. To Houston. You got 2 dudes that need the ball in their hand all the time in Westbrook and Beal. Beal's a ball first guard. I mean, I don't think it's going to work, but it's going to be fun to watch.
It'll be. I was going to say he coexisted with Harden, but then I'm like, yeah, did they really? But they didn't play very well. That's the reality. And nobody thought that was going to. I mean, that was a foolish thing to do, in my opinion. I think that Beal, yes, he likes to have the ball, but he can also shoot. So he's gonna he's going to get lucky from maybe getting the ball kicked out to him in the corner or on the wing.
Who's going to kick it out? Westbrook?
Westbrook.
He don't pass.
Well,
He
if he
shoots.
does, this guy could get up to like that 25-10. I mean, he's got the ability. I mean, listen, I think they make a push to the playoffs. So I have to go over.
That's banana land.
That's fine. I mean, every team that Russ has been on, even when he had those terrible teams down in OKC, he made a push to the playoffs. You're in the Eastern
right,
Division.
but he's older now.
Eastern Division, where we just talked about the Eastern Conference. We talked about an entire division who has one team, maybe two coming out. Yes, the Atlantic is money, but what's going to happen in the Southeast? There's all they have to do is get to like 38 wins, 36 wins, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I've got them over. They're going to win more regular seasons games than expected. But my thing is, the Westbrook style of play, while I love to watch it, hasn't in the last couple of years really led to any actual like winning. And I'm not saying like he's good enough to carry a team as he showed in OKC. He's good enough to carry a team to the playoffs.
Right.
But at some point, either he's going to do this on bad teams or he's going to change the way he plays and try to win a championship. And I don't know that it's going to be the latter. I think it's going to be the former. I think he's going to be the guy that's running up and down the court 100 miles per hour until he retires on a team that's like 18-75 because he just only knows one way to play. And it's like kind of frustrating because that guy should be on a team winning championships. Yeah. Like the fact that Houston was so like willing to get rid of him and send him to Washington, it's kind of sad because like he's an incredible player and yet like teams kind of just have gotten over him.
Yep.
And I mean, the nice thing is at some point his deal is going to be up and he's going to be able to figure out where he wants to go. But like, I don't know, like I just want to see that guy like change his style a little bit so he can make a run toward a championship. I just don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, he wants to score. If he gets anywhere, he's obviously not LeBron, but LeBron can score, he can pass, he can rebound. Like Russ seems like he should have the skill set to do that, but just doesn't want to.
And truthfully, maybe I'm clouded by the fact that, he had those years where he's averaging a triple double and it was clearly about the stats and kind of sneaking into the playoffs and it didn't really matter about anything else. And maybe that's just kind of spoiled me in my mind of like, can this guy actually be on a team that makes a run toward a championship? It's obviously not going to be with the Wizards. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm going over, but not by much.
I guess I don't understand the trade, but
I think it's just changed the scenery. All right. Who's your Southeast MVP?
I have no idea. I look at the teams. There's a lot of good players. I don't think there's anyone great. Russ.
Mine's easy.
Talked about what?
I thought this was easy for me.
Oh, you thought? Go ahead. You go ahead.
Trae Young.
Trae Young.
I think with all of those veterans, with Bogdanovich and Gallinari who can shoot, with guys like Rondo, to your point, who are going to take the pressure off because Trae Young can't play defense. Right. With a guy like Clint Capella who's going to be deadly in the pick and roll and who can play defense. John Collins making that step forward. He's going to have weapons all over the place. And so he's going to be the guy that's going to be able to create his own shot, which he can already do. But now he's going to have guys wide open who are going to hit shots. And I just think his numbers are going to be banana. I think he's going to have a ridiculous year.
Yeah. You make great points. I've gone between a bunch of players. Jimmy Butler is not going to play enough personally. Trae Young is great. Gordon Hayward is already hurt. LaMelo Ball's a rookie. It's probably between Russ and Young for me. Yeah. So because you went with Young, I'll go with Russ just because dude's going to go for stats. And if they make the playoffs, that makes him an MVP because if he gets the stats and they make the playoffs, that he's the most valuable player.
No doubt. All right, let's move on to the last thing we're going to do tonight. Conference MVP. Who you got?
Listen, I terribly want to go Tatum here. I'm not going to go Homer. I'm still going to go Giannis. And the reason I'm doing it is because Tatum has Brown. He has all these other players on his team. He has a better team around him than Giannis does. And
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think he has the better players and the more talent than Giannis does. So I'm going Giannis as MVP because if Tatum gets hurt, I believe that the Celtics could still make the playoffs. If Giannis gets hurt, I don't think the Bucks make the playoffs.
I'm going Tatum. I'm a homer. Sue me. That's it. That's it. I mean, I want him to take that leap. I want him to be that elite player. He's so damn close. Feed me, Jason Tatum as the conference MVP. All right. Last call, presented by Progression Brewery. D, what you got?
So I'm gonna shout out 2 UMass basketball players. Hey, why not, right? So on Sunday, Sam Breen of the UMass Minute Women hit a game-winning shot at the buzzer to take St. John's down, and then Trey Mitchell came out on Wednesday, put up 37 points. He's averaging about 25 and a half points per game in the first 3 this year. I told you he's going to win A10 Player of the Year, so he's just starting off hot.
Staying true with that UMass. I'm going to go Red Sox baseball. Not that we're there at the baseball season yet, but the Red Sox, I'm going to say this because I think it kind of signifies the end of an era. The Red Sox went out and signed Hunter Renfroe, 1-year deal. That means their outfield currently has Renfroe. It means it has Benintendi. It means it has Verdugo. It means it probably is the end of Jackie Bradley's time in Boston. He's been a spectacular yet at times frustrating player to have on the team. Really good in the playoffs when he gets there. Not great regular seasons, incredible defense. Maybe they bring him back. I'm guessing not.
But
if it is,
bring him back for a little less, right? To be able to do
that.
They
probably would. And with Dombrowski now in Philadelphia and him loving JBJ, I could see him push to bring him in. Here's what I'll say. Shout out to JBJ. Didn't always hit, but he could play some damn good defense, and he tended to show up in the playoffs.
I'll tell you what. Benintendi, he was fire for a while, and he just kind of struggled the last.
He was hurt last year too. He was hurt. Verdugo had a good year. Maybe they do a Renfroe JBJ platoon. We'll see. But if it's the end of the JBJ era, it's kind of sad. I've definitely been frustrated about them continuing to bring him back. But then he shows me enough that I want him back, and then the next year he doesn't do well.
Right.
Maybe it's time to just cut bait.
Yeah, I was also surprised that they signed a wide receiver from Las Vegas to play baseball, but All right,
y'all. That's it. We'll see y'all. Listen, Saturday, Packers play, Bills play. Check us out. We'll be there. See y'all next time.
Peace.